Okay. All right. Hey, everybody. Chris Courtney here. New Pragmatic. It's a little more subdued today. I've got a dental issue. Kind of holding some ice in my mouth to kind of keep the pain at bay. And I'm gonna try to get some feedback here and get it off of here so I can not talk. So I do apologize for the subdued feedback loop. This came on really fast, and just yeah, full disclosure, old restorative work that's went south, and had a root canal like 15 years ago. Not working out anymore. So it's not like a cavity issue or something like that. It's more structural in nature. All right, so let's go ahead and try to do this because while I'm in pain, I'm still kind of smart. So Tedgel's got her project here, and let's go ahead and take a peek. This is the COVID-19. Obviously, the dark blue up here to get tested. That you're gonna have to adjust that logo a bit. Otherwise, that's not gonna show up. I like the little illustration that's come on in. This feels very much like it's a homepage now, where in previous iterations it felt like it was a search results page. So that's interesting. I don't mind it as a homepage. I mean, I think that's an effective switch. Why have a homepage about testing when you could just take him to the testing thing? 5-digit zip code search. You got a filter there. Here's our results. We talked yesterday about the blues and reds and greens. I think this is fine. I do like you mentioned that you've made the shadow make it feel more like cards. That's fine. I think the background gray is really what helps us more so than the shadow. So I'm on board with it. It's a good move. It's a positive move forward, but mainly because this background is here helping with that separation. Gotta reload. I'm gonna come back over to your questions real quick. Spelled out search field. I think having the button here, it's connected. I think it's fine. I think you need to. I think this has to be there. Enter zip code. I don't think you can put search there. Yeah, I worry. I worry that if you change this to search, they won't know what to put in. So, like near me, or Linwood. Yeah, I'd rather them know. Oh, zip code goes here. I think they can get that. Mm-hmm. Cards work. Map. Do I need icons? Let's look here. I don't know. I think these are side by side. Because the icons could be misconstrued without the words, like over here, like I need the word appointment required yes, and it's red. I think this by itself not having that extra context could be confusing. I might lose them. To be completely honest with you. And past that, come back up here, adjust that logo. And make sure everybody's on board with this map sticking as you scroll. If there were 10 results what would this be? Always look for the edge cases. Like, ow, what? 2 is really convenient. Oh, I've only got 2 results. But if you had 10, what would happen if you had 20? Would this paginate? Would you have a different page, or would it just show all 20? Would you limit it? Here's the top 5 near you. Think about that logic, okay? And what are the other sorts? What are the other ways you could sort this? Let's see, sort distance. I want to know what those other options are, okay? I would do that. And again, what is this? What do the drop downs look like? What happens when I click? What does that look like? Yeah, I'm dropping water on me. Drinking problem. Again, I apologize. This is terrible. All right, let's go over here to Kara's form exercise. Kara is in the middle of her reworking of the form, and essentially, if you've been through this, sorry, I gotta get some more ice. Well, I'm gonna try not to. If you've been through the form exercise, you know that the you're given and this is for anybody watching, you're given an original form with all these fields, and the concept here is how do you make this better? And one of the big things we do is we look at breaking that up so that we're lowering the cognitive load on what has to be entered for each of the screens. So you've got 4. It looks like you got 4 screens here. So there's contact information. It's weird though. This should be screen 1, but this address is showing up as screen 1. Payment. Yeah. So like your dots here are just a little off. The the stepper going through. I also let's get in here and look at the form. Okay, so all right, so now you're indicating which one is optional. That's good. I get an idea what the drop down is going to be like. Okay. I think overall this works. When we look back at the original form, you kept pretty much everything, like this arrival, departure, hotel, t-shirt size, meal preference. Like we get down here and you've got arrival date and meal and t-shirt and first time attending the conference. Preferences is kind of optional, I think. Let's see what you got here. You remove the hotel. It's too broad a question. Why they need that information? What if they're staying at Airbnb? Was considering removing arrival departure dates. Why does that matter for workshop registration? Isn't this a set time? Hard to know when this information is so vague. This is where I want a conversation happening. I want you to go, hey, do we really need that? Like you were able to make the call on the Airbnb hotel thing because it could be something other than a hotel. I do think it's a bit invasive to ask when they're arriving or departing. So, yeah, at the progress bar, how long the form is, that's smart. Adding the actual cost of the event. That's super smart. Like how much is this going to cost me? That was missing from the original registration. But she went through and added it. Payment, $50. Seems small, right? Seems like a very minor thing. But, oh, and I think I figured this out. Oh, no. Never mind. Yeah, this should be 1, this should be 2, or this should be 2, this should be 3, this should be 4. So, but that seems like such a easy thing, but you did a really good job adding that and pointing out that was a missing component. Let's go to part 2. So part 2 is always a fun game where we're basically taking all these form elements and adding them below. So the goal here is create a new account. So you have email, password, submit, first name, last name. I'm always curious why we might need first name and last name. Is it required? But we need origination, destination, departure date, arrival date, quantity, and search. Okay. Update a credit card. You need to edit the existing credit card. You need a payment type, credit card information, expiration date, month, year. This is the one that always trips people up because with the expiration date, that is the month year. A lot of times month year gets lapped in there, but that is the expiration date. So if you have expiration date, you don't necessarily need month year. Expiration date is not a label. These are all form fields. And then you need to confirm the update. Newsletter, first name, email, confirm email, last name maybe, subscribe. Here for me, I could see like just email and subscribe. Like, give me your email, subscribe, done. You want to make it as lightweight as possible. So let's see how this comes out in the final exercise. So here's something I do like. I like that you've got some different color combinations going on here. You're kind of pushing around on the boundaries. So here's create account. Oddly enough, it looks like you dropped off. Like here, sorry, you dropped off first name, last name. So from exercise 2 to exercise 3. You didn't carry that over, which is interesting. Book a flight. I like the selectors up here. What am I doing first? Is this one way? Is it round trip? To, from, or from to, departure, return. This is typically where I would insert like a helper, like a instead, like what is the, either you need a helper to like a calendar that's going to do a little pop-up that's going to give you a calendar to select from, or you need something to tell them what the format is. I need it XX/XX/XX, or I need oh, actually you would need all that. You would need year too, particularly in like if you were booking from December to January, the years are going to change. Like your stepper here, searching for flights. Okay, so here with update, you've gone a sorry, just so bad. With the update, you've gone with a few screens here, and that's fine. This is also the no lines exercise. Use boxes. That's fine. I was just trying to push you to try to get away from using lines, although you came back and used lines. There are lines here. The stroke. So this is where I probably would keep the background and then just make this a reversed out, because there are definitely lines here. Once you get into stroke, there's lines. Here, there are no lines. There are no lines because it's reversed out. Same thing here. No lines. It's just screens. Here, no lines till you get to here, and then once you get down here, we're in lines. So, but there are ways to avoid it. Whew. So we're adding payment. Now remember, this is about updating. So I'm guessing that we're gonna update over here. So this is the default, and you've twisted out, and you've got the edit little icons here. I want to go in. You can also delete the whole thing. It's kind of interesting. We have, if I want to update the card, I could update the expiration. That's true. It's very true. What else could I do here? The, is there ever a reason to update the number? Probably not. That's probably a, I'm thinking it through. It's like, if I get a new card, I want to come in and update my card, but there isn't if I don't have the card number that's available for update here, I just have to insert a new card and delete this one. If I want to update my billing address or my expiration date, that makes sense. I can get a new card, and have the same number, but update the expiration date. But the options here are you've made it available for somebody to actually go through and make that update. So I think you can update the billing address, you can update the expiration. Otherwise, if you have a whole new card, you just need to add a new payment method, and you've got that here. So I think that's smart. And then down here, sign up for newsletter. So you get your name, email address, confirm email address. I don't necessarily know if you need to confirm. It says invalid email address. Email addresses don't match. At least we have an idea of what the problem is. I would encourage you to highlight, like, this one should be, come in and highlight that so that people also know, not only is the error in red and you have to read it, but you also know where the error is, because it could be just as, I could construe this and go, oh, that means it needs to be like that. Now they match. It's like, nope, it's not the problem. Problem is they don't, like, this is a valid email address and this isn't. All right. Although the error message there would switch to being these are invalid email addresses. So there's a couple of tweaks here. That I would like to see, but overall this is very clean. Forms are really the backbone of the internet. We use them for everything. So spending some time going through this exercise makes a lot of sense. Now related to, I know Lisa's in here, and Lisa, you were doing some research with, you're doing some research on this Project Orion site, and Tedgel's going through and working. No, so Tedgel's going through and working on a test locator. This is contact tracing. Contact tracing's a really interesting problem. And one of the things I had Lisa doing was doing background on the person that was putting this project together. This is one of the COVID-19 projects. And there's a couple things, Lisa, that I would really encourage you to figure out with this individual. You've done the vetting. You say that they appear to be they appear to have the background to do this, which is always important. Like, anytime you're considering working with somebody, even if it's on a volunteer basis, you want to do your background so that you know if they are actually capable of doing this type of work. And something, if you go through and look at their LinkedIn, you should be able to tell, like, is this something that they know anything about, or they just got an idea? Sometimes it's fine if it's just an idea. Maybe you have the same idea and you want to figure it out together. That's okay. I am icing the area. The other thing that you want to do, though, for something like Project Orion is you want to set some guidelines, some you want to set some baselines very early on. Um, how long is this project slated to go on? Is this something that's supposed to be done? Are you seeing the scope of this done in a week? Is it in 2 months? Like, what's the commitment level that I'm signing up for? Um, what happens to this project once it's done? Um, does this become a does this become a company? Does like is there some way that you're putting in free labor on something that becomes a thing that's making money later? Because that's bad. Um, if the answer comes back, oh, this is for the community, it's going to be open sourced, and anybody who wants it can utilize it, then that's fine. That's where you want to be. Uh, I'm all about working on volunteer projects to help the common good. I am not at all about you working for free so somebody can make money off your back. And I'm fine with you working for people, obviously. It's just if they're going to make money, I'd like for you to make money. Um, there was some hubbub about projects like this going on in AIGA. And actually, it wasn't about projects like this. It was very complimentary to projects like this. And it said, if all you if all you did during the pandemic was, you know, play Xbox or learn how to code, then you didn't do what you're supposed to do with your time. They were alluding to the fact that there are all these projects out there that you could get involved in, and why aren't you doing that instead of just sitting on the couch? So, for Lisa and for Tedral, in the job hunt, there are very prominent people in the design community saying this is exactly what you're supposed to be doing through this period, and people are going to smile favorably upon you for your efforts. Okay? So the question here, Lisa, is Project Orion as of yesterday, and I'm just gonna go to the Help with COVID site. Let's go to projects. Let's search for design, and let's filter latest. I'm just curious. So there are still projects coming through. I think Orion was, yeah, here's Orion. Nobody is, quote, signed up yet. But I do think that there is a value to this. The question is, has anything else come in? There's some stuff that's like 23 volunteers. Wow, why is that getting volunteers? Why is that getting volunteers and yours has none thus far? Not yours, but the one that you've had contact with. I would take a second look through here until you land on something. I would continue looking at this and picking up. Are there multiple things that you could be interested in? Has something come down the pipe that sounds interesting in the last 24 hours? And if so, you need to throw your hat in for that as well. Until you get to the point where you've actually accepted something, you're still kind of looking around. And then past that, we have a number of things on the plate for you, Lisa. Not to be diminished at all, is your portfolio is still in a bit of flux. So while you're doing some looking around, while you're looking at these volunteer projects, we also will be putting in time on your portfolio to push that forward. The big thing that I want to emphasize is there is a about you area of any portfolio that I think is a underutilized tool in our toolkit of possible things that we can do. When it comes to talking about your past experience, the thing that I would really impress upon all of you is that if you have past experience, like you're not a spring chicken, this isn't like, oh, hey, I've never had a job before. You need to be painting a picture of yourself from a professional point of view that doesn't necessarily naturally get reflected in your projects. Like you can look at projects and draw a line, okay, one to one, like, okay, you can do these types of things. But how have you grown as a person through the work that you've done? It's not necessarily going to be something that would show up in a portfolio otherwise. So we want to talk. We want to think about, what are those 3 to 5 key things that you've done in your career that kind of shape you now, that weren't necessarily related to a project. Like these are very much the interpersonal and soft skills, if you will, that people always talk about. We need to find a way to get that into your portfolio, and I think that happens through the About Me page. So be thinking about that. Obviously, you're having these back and forths, and you're interviewing, and that's all very important. But very quickly, we're going to turn our attention to your portfolio. In the midst of all this, you're just getting started at your first weekend. But as we begin to turn our attention to that portfolio, I want us to begin answering those questions, because I can try to draw them out, but you are the only person who knows what they are. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the truncated. It's really not that truncated. It actually went pretty well. I'm going to try to get this taken care of. I sincerely apologize for being old and broken. But I will hope to chat with all of you again tomorrow, hopefully in less pain. Take care.